Hey, welcome back, Ram fans. Mark from Rams Up here. Draft is getting close, and we got some draft content here for you at the end. Some news and notes as well. And man, we're going to try a couple different scenarios, trying to nail down what the best approach would be. I've been racking my head against these different ideas, trading up, trading back, sitting still at 26, see what players fall to us. But we'll go through a couple more little scenarios, trying to, really nail down what the best approach for the Rams is. I think I've already kind of decided, but we'll let you decide based on some information I'll present here. Hey, before we get started, it is episode 709 on the podcast. Let's talk about a player who wore number 9 for our Los Angeles Rams. Remember quarterback Jeff Kemp? He is the son of another NFL quarterback, Jack Kemp, who played for the Buffalo Bills, went on to be a U.S. congressman. So Kemp comes out of Dartmouth in 1981, goes undrafted. The Rams sign him, doesn't get on the field in 81. Then you got the 1982, the strike season, and 1983. I think he was the guy that took the kneel down in that horrible loss to the Redskins in the playoffs. 1984, Vince Ferragamo really struggling. They make the switch. John Robinson plugs Kemp in there, and he goes 9-4 as a starter. Had a pretty good season, actually. Rams lose to the Giants in the wild card round, though, and Kemp never really gets another chance with the Rams. He moves on to a couple of other teams. But number 9, our quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams, very briefly in the 1980s, Jeff Kemp. So what else do we got? What else should we talk about? How about the LA Rams leadership nailing it again, moving their draft headquarters to the LA Fire Department's Air Operations Center this year? Not on the beach. No mansions on the beach for Sean McVay. They're going to the LA Fire Department's headquarters there, Air Operations Center. And what a smart move. What happened to this city this past season with the Rams having to move their game to Arizona, all these homeowners losing their homes in various parts of the county, LA Fire Department under so much stress and really answering the bell, doing a great job as they always do, and the Rams giving them a shout out. I kind of love this. The Rams nail everything, it seems like, these days, and they nail it once again. So shout out to the Rams for getting this right, and that should be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll see Sean McVay in a fireman's hat at some point. I can almost guarantee it. Now, Daniel Jeremiah on the Ricky Ramjams show, I think it's called. And he was given a shout out to Trey Amos for the Rams, Ole Miss cornerback. And Jeremiah just calling out Amos as, he says, there are guys that I just identify as Rams players, guys that have a track record, have established a track record of playing at a high level, checking all the boxes through the entire process and playing with a little bit of an edge, playing against a high level of competition there in the SEC. So Jeremiah loves Amos for the Rams at number 26 in the first round. Now that may be a tad early, but I don't think so. He's right there. He's probably the number 3 cornerback in this group. You could make an argument for a couple of other guys, but he's a boundary cornerback, a guy you can put on the outside and elevate this cornerback group immediately. Now, I don't know where that would leave Darius Williams. I assume Witherspoon and Amos would be the starters. Can Williams play the slot? Yeah, I mean, you still use him, get him out there for some snaps. I'd hate for them to move on from Darius because they could absolutely do that after the draft. But Trey Amos, Daniel Jeremiah of NFL.com, loving him for the Rams. And, Puka Nacua making a name for himself for saying funny things, outlandish things, silly things. He wants to play in the NBA, claiming he's good enough. He's going to retire at 30, move to Europe, buy a team, be the coach, be the starting point guard. Oh man, this guy just cracks me up. And he went where most players never go, commenting on another player's contract situation. In this case, a divisional rival, the quarterback for our biggest rival. He was on the Julian Edelman show, and he said, it's a mistake for the 49ers to go big on Purdy's contract in that $50 million a year window, because it's really going to close their Super Bowl window if they do that. It's going to limit their ability to add to that roster, replenish that roster. And you know what? Puka's right. I kind of hope the 49ers go large on this contract, because it really will set them back. I think Purdy's a good quarterback, not a great quarterback. But I'm, a wide receiver on the Rams commenting on the contract negotiations of the 49ers quarterback, probably not the smartest move. Now, it would even be worse if it was a member of our secondary, someone like Quentin Lake. Quentin Lake's would never go there, although he did comment on the Steelers wide receiver group, so maybe he would. But anyway, Puka, probably not the smartest move. He's absolutely right. I'm guessing a couple of teammates or coaches probably advised him, you know what, not the smartest move. You're right, absolutely, but let's stay out of it. Let's not be commenting on the 49ers contract negotiations with their quarterback. Probably not the smartest thing. That is Puka Nacua, and I guess at this point we just got to expect the unexpected from our great wide receiver. Hey, I love the guy. Maybe needs to tone it down a little bit though. So the next thing we're going to do is get into some draft scenarios. So the first thing I want to do is experiment with trading up. What's it going to take? Be careful what you ask for, Ram fans, because it's not going to be an easy thing to move up to a spot where you might draft someone like Ty Warren. And so what I'm going to do is find a equitable trade. Maybe the Rams have to give up a little bit extra. In fact, now I was on the Pro Football Network's mock draft database, and I tried to trade up with the Bears at number 10, and I was throwing a bucket load of draft picks at them, kept on getting rejected. Now, the NFL mock draft database works a little bit differently. If it's an equitable trade, you just make the trade. So I don't even know if we're going to be able to find a partner. But we may have to give up a heck of a lot. But if we did want to trade up to number 10, what do we have to do? So let's see if we can trade up with the Bears. And this is a trade offer here. I have number 26 and our third round pick, number 101 overall, as well as number 190 overall and next year's second round pick. We keep on kicking that second round pick down the road. We gave up this year's second round pick, remember, to go up and get Braden Fisk. So this trade, we actually should give up a little bit more. If let me just throw in, let's say another a fifth round pick next year. I don't want to make it too much in the Rams' favor. This is slightly in the Rams' favor, according to this anyways. But, idea here is we're going to have to give up a lot to make this happen. And then what we're hoping is Ty Warren is still there at number 10. We probably wouldn't make this trade unless he was there, but I've seen him going pretty early in some mocks. So let's see what happens. And it looks like he has made it to the Rams, and we are going to reject these trades because our guy is there. And let's check the 9th rated player. We're getting at number 10, and we don't have another pick till number 90. And we've given up the second round pick next year and additional picks. But now, is it worth it? Yeah, you be the judge of that. I'm just trying to show you what it would take for I think it's a minority of Ram fans that like this scenario, going up to number 10 perhaps, and maybe he's there at number 12 or 14. But you'd have to see how the draft goes, right? The Rams wouldn't make that trade until that player was there for sure. But at number 90, you're between number 10 and number 90, a lot of players coming off the board, man. And, you might end up being disappointed with the draft group. But if you're trying to make a Super Bowl run, it's most important, this approach anyways is stressing quality over quantity. And with that in mind, I'll reject these trades. Now, what are you going to do? You look at the best overall players. The wide receiver, Jack Bech, is there. That's tempting. Man, you're talking about adding 2 weapons to this offense. And is he going to be there at 69? Well, keep in mind that another guy that we're falling in love with, Kyle Williams, is off the board before him. So Williams bumping up above Jack here. And let's look at the cornerbacks. There's some good players there, guys that we've talked about. Noel Williams, we've talked about. Denzel Burke, Darian Porter. I'm going to go with a wide receiver. And man, as my special assistant says, let's get offense. Let's build this offense. We'll figure out the defense. We'll figure it out. We're going to have a really good pass rush for sure, right? We got a defensive line that looks like it's going to be improved against the run, especially. I love our safety group. If we didn't draft Warren and we stayed at 26, it would give us a better opportunity to address the linebacker position. And that's probably what we got to look at next is linebacker or cornerback. And I'm going to reject these trades, even though they're somewhat enticing. 4th round pick. Let's look at all. We have the safety, the defensive lineman, Deon Walker. The safety is Billy Bowman, by the way, for those of you audio only. The linebacker group, Barrett Carter. I'm going to make that selection. It's not so much about the players, just trying to show you the quality of players that you can expect if you take this approach. So we go ahead and make that selection. And we only have 3 more picks left. And I don't even know if it's going to be that meaningful who we get here. But, this approach in this example, I kind of like it, actually. We get the best tight end in the draft, one of the better tight ends to come out in the draft in the last several years. We get the TCU wide receiver that you're going to fall in love with, can block, great route runner, great with the ball in his hands. Jack Bech out of TCU. And then we get a linebacker, Barrett Carter, to improve that group. Now, what I would be potentially looking at next is a cornerback, Kobe Bryant out of Kansas, Jordan Hancock out of Ohio State, Robert Longerbeam out of Rutgers, Jalen Smith out of USC. Let's go back and look at the overall highest rated players. Let's go ahead and make Kobe Bryant, the cornerback out of Kansas, our pick. So we've improved our offense. We've improved our defense. Now, the one thing we haven't done is no linemen at all. And that's just not going to happen, right? Again, I'm not so much focused on the player, just positions. We're in the 6th round here. I'll go ahead and draft Logan Brown, the offensive tackle, and maybe we'll select a defensive lineman at the next spot here just to keep this rolling. Riley Mills out of Notre Dame, highest rated player. And then Cam Jackson out of Florida. Again, not too concerned about the players, just trying to show you the quality of players you're going to get if you trade up to number 10. You come away with 6 players instead of 8. You lose a 2nd round pick next year, but man, you've added some impact players still. Tyler Warren, man, the next could end up being the greatest tight end in Rams history if it works out yet. When have the Rams selected a tight end in the 1st round? Ever? I don't know. I have to do some research on that, but not a bad haul. The next thing we're going to do is see what it's going to take to trade back a little bit and what might happen if we do that. So let's try this second scenario. In this scenario, I'm going to let it run to the 26th pick, and we will trade back, and we'll see how that goes. And I'm using the Pro Football Network's mock draft database, and the reason I am doing that is I want to simulate a trade in which the Rams are desperate to move back, and they're going to make a trade offer, unless I get an offer that pops up that is the same as what I'm expected to try to do. A trade where they have to give up a little more than would be fair value. And I think that's a very likely scenario. So we'll get this started, enter the solo draft, and we'll see if we can find some, see what trades pop up for us. And I'm interested to see who comes off the board, obviously. And some of the guys I'm most interested in observing is, where Tyler Warren comes off the board. There goes Jahdae Barron. Matthew Golden is gone. Colston Loveland comes off the board. Jihad Campbell. A lot of guys that I'd be very interested in trading for, or in selecting, I should say, if they fell to 26. And here's a trade offer. We have 3 trade offers. I would be interested in moving into the top of the second round. This Green Bay Packers trade is for the 54th and 87th pick of theirs, as well as number 124 and next year's second round. I'll reject that. And here's an Eagles trade, 32 and 64. And we also give up number 127. Let's see what the next trade is. The Chargers, 55 and 86 and 214. For experimental sake, I'm going to reject this one too, but I am going to make a trade offer that I think is more realistic. A team like the Giants or Saints moving up, and the Rams giving up more than they perhaps would like to. So I'm going to reject these trades, and I will make a trade offer for, let's see, where am I at? Where is the trade offer at here? Propose a trade, and I am going to reach out to the Saints first. And why the Saints? Because I think it's very possible that they are concerned about Derek Carr's availability. Now, there's rumors that the Saints are circulating that as a rumor to get teams spun up about the Saints, the probability they're going to draft a quarterback and maybe someone else jumps up and drafts a quarterback, which they have no interest in drafting. A lot of gamesmanship going on here. So let's reach out to the Saints, and I'm going to offer the 26th pick for the 40th pick, and I'm going to ask for the, I'm going to ask for the 93rd back. And that's actually in the Rams' favor. That comes up to 628 points back from the Saints. The Rams are giving up 700. But I think the Rams in this scenario might have to throw in a sixth rounder as well. So that is what I am going to do. I will offer up the 201st pick in the draft, make it even sweeter for them to see. Hopefully they accept this. So we're getting 40 and 93 back, and let's see if they like it. They accepted it as expected, and we're going to have to wait until the 40th pick before we make our pick here, with 40th and 90th and 93rd, and we will reject these additional trades and make a pick here. And what I'm interested in, see, Trey Amos just came off the board. That's a player we might have wanted at 40. And I am interested in the wide receiver still available. No, Kyle Williams. I'm falling in love with this guy. I really am. And the tight ends, Harold Vanden Jr. Which one is going to electrify our offense the most? I'm going to go ahead and take Kyle Williams, and I'm not sure if the boards here are reflecting the love that Kyle Williams has started to get, or maybe Kyle Williams is getting too much love. But you see what's on the board here. You see what the Rams could have. Jalen Knoll, wide receivers, Jalen Knoll, Jalen Royals, Jaden Higgins, and Kyle Williams. Tight ends, Harold Fannin Jr., Gunnar Helm, and Elijah Arroyo. I would take Arroyo before Helm. And on the defensive front, let's look at the linebackers. Carson Schwessinger is still there. That would be a solid pick as well. And the cornerbacks, Azare Thomas from Florida State, Maxwell Harrison still there. But I'm going to go ahead and take the receiver. You could beg to differ. This is an experiment to see what you could get if you trade it back realistically. And I think these are all realistic scenarios, although Kyle Williams, man, he is soaring up some boards, but I will go ahead and take probably going to, for the value that he is rated at on most draft boards, way too early for him, but I'm going to draft him nonetheless. And you can mention in the comments how silly that is. That's fine, but you see who was there, who you might have picked. Otherwise. Now we're going to wait for the number 90 pick. 90th overall is when we're up next, and that's into the third round. So we picked up an extra third round pick here by dropping down 14 spots. Is it worth it? Well, we shall see. I would have taken, I think the consensus would have been one of the tight ends, or Kyle Williams or Carson Schwessinger. So keep that in mind. That's who you could have had if you drop back in these scenarios. I will reject this trade with the Falcons, another trade from the Chiefs, and we're on the clock, and the best players available are Chris Paul, Tyler Shugg, Omar Norman Lott, Shamar Turner, the defensive tackle out of Texas A&M. Elijah Arroyo is there at 90. And if we go to defense and look at linebacker, it's going to be Chris Paul, right? And I'm going to go ahead and select here in the third round. I'm going offense again. Elijah Arroyo, where did he go? He's the 90th ranked player on the board, and I'm taking him at 90. And there we have it. Ian talked about him quite a bit just the other night on his review of tight ends, and we'll reject that trade. We're already back on the clock. We have our wide receiver and our tight end. Let's go. I think we need to go defense, and I'm going to go ahead and take Chris Paul, the linebacker out of Ole Miss. We didn't get the cornerback out of Ole Miss, but we did get the linebacker, and realistic pick at that spot, I think. And we might want to start thinking about cornerbacks. We got another trade offer. Let's get this rolling. The highest rated players are Shamar Turner, the defensive tackle out of Texas A&M, the running back Scadaboo out of Arizona State. And the issue I have with Scadaboo is he's not a change of pace back. He's going to be a very good running back. Whoever ends up with him is going to be thrilled, but I just don't see him adding anything to the Rams in 2025. If you're drafting him with the idea of moving on from Kyren Williams, I guess that'd be a solid pick. Let me look at the other running backs because there's a few we really like. Tootin, RJ Harvey are still there, so I'm going to pass on the running back, and I'll go back to defense and look at these cornerbacks. Dorian Strong out of Virginia Tech, Zy Alexander out of LSU. Overall on defense, Turner is the highest rated player. So the decisions get a little bit tougher at this point, but I am going to go ahead and take the highest rated cornerback on the board. And, is he a good fit, Dorian Strong, for what the Rams want to do? I'm not sure. We'll let Ian or Scott chime in on that in a day or two. We will be getting to the cornerbacks. So we'll go ahead and take the cornerback. Again, it's not so much about the players. It's about what is available if you trade back in this scenario. And the Rams will be back on the clock at 127. I'm going to breeze through this real fast because it's not so much about, there goes Tootin, unfortunately. It's not so much about the players I'm selecting, I'm identifying. You can nitpick the picks I'm actually making here, my selections, but just be aware of who's available, and I'm trying to keep you abreast of the best players available as when the Rams are on the board, and they are on the board again here at 127 overall. Shamar Turner is still there, the defensive tackle, as is Joshua Farmer, another defensive tackle out of Florida State, and CJ West, a defensive top three players are all defensive tackles. The wide receiver Felton, and let's see the running backs. Let's see which running backs are available, because that might be what I'm thinking here. RJ Harvey, Dylan Sampson, Ollie Gordon. And Sampson at this point would be a really good value, right? Or not necessarily. It's actually rated as 133rd on this board. And can we have another pick? Not for a little bit. So I am going to go ahead and take this running back, Dylan Sampson. And the one thing I'm fallen into a trap here. I'm ignoring the trenches, and that's probably not a good idea. Maybe would have taken one of those defensive tackles. I know you're probably already typing away. Why the hell didn't you take a defensive tackle there? Hey, I'm trying to keep this moving while at the same time making sensible picks. And I could sit here and deliberate. I could do this live, and you guys could tell me what to do, perhaps. But so just stick with me here. I'm trying to make sensible picks based on who's on the board, the Rams' needs as far as I'm concerned, and I don't want to be sitting here deliberating a pick for 5 or 10 minutes. Keep it moving. Okay, are we on the clock yet? 190, not quite yet. And I'm going to draft someone in the trenches just to keep you all happy, and it'll either be an offensive tackle or now this dude out of Rutgers, Holland Pierce, and Trey Wedig out of Indiana would both be solid picks this late in the draft, right? And are we on the clock? We are. And I'm going to go ahead and take, the Rutgers guy just went off the board. I took Vincent a recent draft, so I'm going to change it up and take the offensive tackle out of Indiana. Let me check defensive tackles before I do that. Elijah Roberts out of SMU. I talked about him a little bit. I saw someone mocked Aeneas Peebles out of Virginia Tech to the Rams recently, so I'll just change it up and take the offensive tackle. Dylan Gabriel still there, the quarterback, and he's on the shorter side for sure, but he's a pretty dynamic player, better quarterback than you think. Ricky White, the wide receiver out of UNLV, has a real special teams value. If he's on the board in one of these last two picks, I will consider that. But let's go back to, what was I going to do? I was going to take offensive tackle. So let's go back to offensive tackle. And we had Carson Vincent and Trey Wedig. I will take Trey Wedig, and hopefully he can step up and provide some depth for us. And we are on the clock again at 195. And let's go trenches, defensive line. And we'll go ahead and take Roberts. Good value there. Again, not so much about the players. I'm not going to do a deep dive on all these guys and try to split hairs over which defensive tackle is better. In this mock draft, I'm trying to display what type of players you would get in this scenario where you trade back. And it's mostly about the guys at the top end, that second round pick and those third round picks, and we'll review that closely. The Rams have their last pick here, number 202 overall. What have we not hit? We have not hit edge. Well, let's go through our picks here. We have a wide receiver, a tight end, a linebacker, a cornerback, a running back, and two guys for the trenches, offensive tackle, defensive tackle. Rams love their edge rushers at the end of the draft. We don't have a safety yet either. Let's look at edge. We have Kamen Rucker, the edge rusher out of North Carolina, Tyler Batty out of BYU. Let's look at the safeties. Hunter Waller out of Wisconsin, Maxon Hook out of Toledo. And we did not, there is another position we haven't hit. What was it? Well, quarterbacks. Is there a quarterback we would bother taking here? You know, Sean McVay is saying he hasn't done a lot of research on quarterbacks. He's really happy with his quarterback room. That tells me he's going to draft a quarterback, right? Why would he say that if it were true for the world to hear? But I'm not going to take a quarterback here. Curtis Rourke would be he's a guy that could develop into a solid backup quarterback. But let's look at the safeties, Hunter Wall, and let's look at the edge rushers. Let's just go with the highest rated player of between those two, edge and safety, and that is Hunter Waller out of Wisconsin. And we'll make that selection. Man, thanks for sticking with us through all that. That was a lot of work and a lot of noise probably. So we got through two scenarios here today. We got through the trade up scenario and the trade back scenario. And I think I might like the trade up scenario more, which surprises me. I didn't think it would turn out that way. But I'm kind of happy with this too. You know, you get two impact players for the offense, Kyle Williams and Elijah Arroyo, and you address the linebacker position as well. And maybe haven't improved the cornerback room all that much. But overall, there goes Thomas Fidone, the tight end the Rams have met with. Finally, Peoples going off the board there. We're into the 7th round. Elijah Williams, the edge rusher, just went. So there's our draft results. Wide receiver Kyle Williams, 40th overall. Elijah Arroyo, the tight end, 90th overall. Linebacker Chris Paul, 93rd overall. Then the cornerback Dorian Strong, the running back Dylan Sampson. Ian talked about him as well. Trey Wedig, the offensive tackle out of Indiana. Elijah Roberts, the defensive tackle out of SMU. And the safety Hunter Waller out of Wisconsin. So that's what I got for you today. That's a lot. Thanks for listening out here from Rams Up.